everyone, this is my week 3 discussion board about the critical and world system theory in being applied to the state of Hawaii. Some interesting facts about the video that I noted was that in 1993, the Apology Resolution was signed by President Bill Clinton that acknowledges the overthrow of the Kingdom of Hawaii for over 100 years. I did not know this was a thing. I did know Hawaii did get overthrown, but I didn't know that there was an Apology Resolution. Fun fact, mostly known. The last person to rule Hawaii was a queen. I'm not going to pronounce her name. I was going to, but I cannot pronounce it. Um, she was overthrown by U.S. businessmen and troops. And something to know was that she was known for trying to preserve the Hawaiian culture, and she was a very strong leader. Another thing was there's banned Hawaiian culture. There was banned Hawaiian culture and language from being taught in schools. I found it very similar to how when Native Americans were not allowed to teach their own culture and language in their own schools on their own land as well. Another thing was the average poverty rate in Hawaii is 15%, and amongst the poverty, 27% are Native Hawaiians. Another thing that I found interesting was that Native Hawaiians are the minority in Hawaii, which is crazy to think. Due to decimation of the Hawaiian agriculture, the state imports 80% of their food. Another thing was that there is a nation of Hawaii, which I believe they mentioned was a sovereign state, and they just want restoration and independence for their own Native Hawaiian people from the US. First, I have is the critical theory. The critical theory after Marx, known as Neo-Marxian, went under a change where culture replaced the economy and people were more likely to be influenced by it being the culture. A quote I have is we now also have far more powerful decimators of mass culture, most notably television and the internet. When I was reading this, they were mentioning how media has influenced the culture. A thing I was like relating to was that there are a few television shows that do take place in the state of Hawaii, such as like Hawaii Five-O, Magnum PI, and NCIS Hawaii. Another quote is how vacations are likely to be spent consuming goods and services. I have this because when you think of Hawaii, you think of vacation and how some people, if they're lucky enough, they are able to go and they do a lot of like native, I guess not native, but like well-known things to Hawaii, like hiking or going to the shops out there, buying from local businesses, trying their foods. An example I have again is there are 4 million tourists. On average, 4 million tourists a year go to Hawaii, which is a lot to think about. And that the average cost of housing is around 1 million. I also didn't think Hawaii was the most expensive state to live in. I thought California was, but I guess not. And especially in the video when it shows like um the realtor was showing how it was like a kind of like I don't want to say like rundown, but it wasn't a very like nice looking house, and that cost $1 million in the city of Waikiki, which was insane. But I guess that makes sense because of the gentrification of those cities, such as like Waikiki and Oahu and Honolulu, because it is getting more modern. People are willing to live there because it's not secluded anymore. It's everything's becoming new and they want to live there. The other one is, sorry, the second slide is about the world system theory. The world systems theory is a social system with multiple structures and groups that create boundaries. There are three types of areas in the system. First is being core, which exploits the others for resources. The second is propriety, which provides materials to the core and suffers exploitation from the core. And the third is semi-propriety, which lies between the exploited and exploiter. The quote I have is a capitalist world economy is seen as more stable than a world empire, built in the process of economic stabilization. Um, when I Googled it, it said Hawaii is economically stable, but there are like some factors aren't really like helping the point, but it kind of like gets to the point. The examples is like it imports 80% of their food. So from that, it's like none of it is from Hawaii itself, which kind of makes sense. Most of it is food from like the mainland. And because 80% is imported, that does mean there are higher prices for groceries. I have seen a video where this woman, she's a family of five, and she almost like $500 on groceries in Costco, which is kind of like very surprising, but it's also Costco and it is Hawaii, so it does make sense. There are multiple food drives for, I'm going to assume the lower class, I'm not quite sure. And it's just for a chance for them to get a meal, something that they can eat. Because in the video, you do see there was a family living from their car, and she was saying sometimes this is the only way that people are able to get fruit and vegetables, not just for themselves, but for other families, probably families who have little children as well. Like they work so hard and they're not able to afford the groceries, and this is their only chance of getting food, which is okay. People do struggle, and it is okay to get help, to ask for help, you know? And then another thing is the displacement of the local population. Again, in the video, it does show, they mentioned like, oh, in the video, oh, there's tourists on the beach. But if the tourists turn around behind them, there are natives, people in the state who are living on tents on the sides of the roads, who are living in their cars just because, again, the cost of living is so expensive in Hawaii. Another quote I have is to Wallenstein, the International Division of Exploitation is defined not by state borders, but by the economic divisions of labor in the world. That just got me thinking of, I'm not quite sure how expensive, not how expensive, what the minimum wage for Hawaii is. If it, like for us, I know it's like 15 to 20 for fast food workers, so I don't know how much it is for Hawaii, considering they are the most expensive state to live in. I'm not quite sure how expensive. I mean, their wages. And then I have on my little notes, Hawaii relies heavy on tourism. And obviously, when there's a bunch of tourists, there's going to be a lot of people working and a lot of tourists, um, like, not want to say in the environment, I guess you could say. Like, there are people who are working luau's, there are people who are working in the hotels, there are people who are, they awful, not, sorry, offer like, um, surfing like, was it, like, they teach you how to surf, they work at the fast foods there. Like they are people who are working so much in very populated areas of Hawaii just in order to make a living and to be able to help tourism because tourism does fund the economy in Hawaii. And it's something that gets affected our small businesses because sometimes small businesses, not many people want to go out to small businesses, or some people sometimes they do want to help small businesses, but most of the time, like when you go to Hawaii, you want to try the local food, but sometimes you might be scared to just go for the food is gonna you like, and it's a win-win, I guess, food you like, or you can help the people of the state of Hawaii. My references for this was the video we were watching and then the textbook that we read. Thank you so much.